All right, guys, welcome. For those of you regular watchers, I'm in a different place now. I'm in my wife's office, little makeshift studio, because we're doing a little bit of a remodel. But anyway, let's jump right into it. Episode 1 and 2 was a pretty mixed bag for me. I really went in with an open mind, no expectations, and after 2 episodes, I'm still kind of on the fence. There were some real positives, but also some things that I really do not like. So today, we're gonna do a compliment sandwich. First, the good. Jedi Master Soul, extremely well written, and Lee Jung-jae is incredible. He's by far my favorite character. He comes across very Qui-Gon-esque, especially when compared to the Stonewall of the character of Vernestra. I like seeing the contrast there. When she mentions his former Padawan being accused of killing Master Indara, his reaction is clearly emotional. Now, Lee Jung-jae, I hope I'm saying that right, does an incredible job of showing this in a subtle way. And Vernestra's response in contrast.
I see I have underestimated your attachment to her.
Next, the opening fight scene. I thought this scene was fantastic. I thought the choreography, both the way they used the Force, the way Master Indara first tried to de-escalate the situation before any combat, the set design, and seeing all the different aliens in this show is absolutely a breath of fresh air. I enjoyed this a lot. And on a side note, thank you, Lucasfilm, for not using the shaky camera bullshit from Kenobi. And please don't use it again because it's god awful. Now let's get to what I didn't like. Vernestra looks terrible. I'm not sure what's going on. Is it the makeup? She just looks like a bald lady with green paint. I feel like it just doesn't look good. It looks cheap to me. Also, the dialogue. Not all of it, but a good majority of it felt very ham-fisted. It was so awkward every time May would approach and challenge a Jedi.
Attack me with all your strength.
And Indara's response is also pretty cheesy and wooden.
Yes, my child.
So as fantastic as the fight scene is, the dialogue was equally as bad. Now, also in the bad category would be that this little dagger kills Indara. Or even more egregious, that May would be able to trick and kill a Jedi Master. It seems honestly pretty unlikely. And of course, I gotta point out the irony of lightsabers not killing Reva or Sabine, but this little dagger was able to kill Jedi Master Indara. Next, and probably what I dislike the most, is the portrayal of the Jedi Order. They are completely incompetent so far. We've spent 3 movies in the prequels that show the Jedi as arrogant and even incompetent in stopping their own demise. Now, we have more of the same here. Vernestra is a typical council member. She's a politician. Throughout the prequels, the Clone Wars, Tales of the Jedi, George Lucas and Dave Filoni make it a point to show that the Jedi have lost their way. No longer keepers of the peace. So to here make the Jedi the incompetent fools in what should be the height of their order is terrible and has already been shown in every iteration before it. Either they're incompetent here or arrogant in the prequels, or they're all dead in the original trilogy. Now, as we go through this show, I get the feeling that they're going to be treated as either a proxy for the patriarchy or for the police. Either way, they're going to be villainized. Now, in episode 2, they're chasing May, and she gets away in a pretty eye-rolling way. She's clearly going to try and escape. They have her surrounded, and they just watch her use the Force to burst her way out. But we have to move the plot forward, and that's the decision they decided to go with. They're all sitting there, they're ready, they can see her getting ready to do something. Now, Jedi reflexes are legendary, and they just watched her Force burst her way into escaping. Osha then misses her with a few stun blasts, which is probably on purpose. She's obviously conflicted with this being her sister. Next order of business, the ending of episode 1. This is not a big deal, but I found it very fanficky. The Sith Lord igniting his lightsaber, I found it silly, unnecessary, and a little bit cheap. Now, we don't know at this point who the Sith Lord is or who the apprentice is, but for those of you that read the Plagueis novel, you know that the Sith Lord, or being a Sith apprentice, you have to be highly intelligent and extremely powerful. The rule of 2 dictates this, and if they do decide to follow the novel, which would be smart, then it should be Darth Tenebris and Darth Plagueis as the 2 in power. And both of them really despised lightsabers and lightsaber combat. They would only draw their lightsabers if they absolutely had no other choice, if it was life or death. None of this sitting on a ledge looking out on the ocean and to impress some disposable acolyte. It was just unnecessary other than to show the audience, hey, this is a Sith Lord, but I think we can already get that from just the dialogue itself in the situation. This is obviously May's master. Now, I also thought that Jedi Master Torben committing suicide because he felt guilty of whatever happened back with Osha and May back when they were children is not something a Jedi would do. It's a bit far-fetched and just used to, again, push the plot forward that she wanted to kill this Jedi, and then she had to do it after her master said that they need to do it without weapons. All right, it's time to finish the compliment sandwich. Other than a few info dumps, they've done a pretty good job of slowly revealing backstory and motivations. There's a lot of questions still, which after 25% of the show, that's a good thing at this point. Also, I like Amanda Stenberg's version of Osha. I think she's done a good job with her, even though I find May a little bit more cartoonish. I also like Jecki. She seems like a very competent Padawan, and her costume design looks incredible. You contrast this with Yord, who's a bit of a clown and leads the incompetency train. Now, at this point, I'm not overly invested in any of the characters other than Master Soul. I do like Osha. I think they're bringing her along in a natural way. She's flawed, and we're learning a little bit at a time of her backstory. Now, parts of the first 2 episodes do feel like Star Wars. They use the Force in the fight scenes, the aliens are working, but some of this also feels like generic sci-fi or even Star Trek, more than Star Wars. Some of the space scenes, I think, are off-putting for some reason. I'm not sure if it's the lighting on the ships, the way they move, or the frame rate they're using and the lack of any motion blur. I'm not really sure, but it does feel off to me. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this slightly above mid with a 5.5 at this point. The dialogue is clunky, but I've seen worse.
Going somewhere?
The fight scenes so far have been great, and I have a feeling that everything we know so far is only a piece or a misdirection as to what's really going on. And of course, I'm extremely interested in who the Sith Lord is. Is it Khmer? God, I hope not. That would be stupid. Is it Yord? That would be even worse. Now, I briefly entertained the thought of Osha and May being split personalities, but once May attempted to attack Master Torben during the Bearish Vow, while Osha was in the ship with Sol, Yord and Jecki, that shot down that theory. What I think might happen is that the Sith Lord is using May. I think he's using her. Maybe this is not actually who he wants. If you pay attention, Master Sol confronts Osha about her feelings. She's angry. She's after revenge. Maybe she's the more powerful one. She wants revenge against May for killing her whole family. That revenge will fuel her power and her turn to the dark side, especially if May kills Osha's former master, Sol, who clearly she cares about. I think this Sith Lord either knows all about the event that happened in Osha and May's village back when they were kids, or maybe he was even a part of it and is using it to manipulate both of them. Now, this theory has a 99.9% chance of being wrong, but I would definitely find that interesting. Hopefully these characters continue to evolve, things continue to improve. Episode 2 I thought was a little better than episode 1, but both left, I feel like, a lot on the table, but did have some strong points. Now, I know opinions like this aren't exciting. Blind loyalty or blind Disney hate generally gets the clicks, but if you like balanced and honest, make sure to hit this subscribe button. I'll be covering episode 3 next week as well. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you after the next episode.